What if turning 50 wasn't the beginning of the end but the beginning of becoming who you were always meant to be? Most people believe life settles after 50. You slow down, you shrink your dreams, you repeat the same days over and over again. But some people, a rare few, discover something different. They discover that life can restart, reset, transform. This is one of those stories. And by the end of it, you might look at your own future differently. Today, we follow Michael Turner, a 52-year-old man from Columbus, Ohio, who believed life after 50 was already written, until everything he thought he knew collapsed and pushed him into his second act. Then everything hit at once. At age 51, Michael's company downsized. After 27 faithful years, he lost his job in a 7-minute meeting. He drove home in silence. He sat in the driveway for almost an hour, hands on the steering wheel, not knowing how to walk through the door and tell his wife. The next months were the darkest he had ever known. No routine, no identity, no sense of direction. He sent out applications, but felt invisible. Companies wanted someone younger, someone more modern, someone who wasn't 51 with a resume that looked like it belonged to a different century. He stopped doing the things he loved, stopped going out, stopped believing that his life still mattered. Michael later described this period as the season where everything ran out: energy, confidence, hope. And yet, this was also the season where his second act quietly began. Because sometimes, you need to lose the life you had to create the life you want. The shift happened on an ordinary Tuesday. Michael's daughter, Valerie, came to visit. She was 23, bold, loud, full of fire, the kind of person you can't ignore. She found him sitting in the living room, TV on but not watching. She looked at him and said, she continued, "You always told me life is what you make it. So why aren't you making yours?" It hit him like a punch to the chest. Not because she was harsh, but because she was right. That night, he did something he hadn't done in years. He wrote a list. At the top he wrote, "If I could start over at 50, what would I do?" He wrote 17 things, some small, some big, some wild. When he put the pen down, he didn't feel lost anymore. He felt something he hadn't felt in years: hope. The beginning was messy. Second acts always are. Michael started waking up early again, not for work, but for himself. He walked 2 miles every morning, listened to podcasts about reinvention, watched YouTube channels of people starting over at 50, 60, even 70. He realized he wasn't alone. Thousands of people were rebuilding their lives. He could too. He signed up for a community college course, Digital Skills for Beginners. He was the oldest person in the room by 25 years. He felt embarrassed, until the instructor told him, "You're not behind. You're just starting your next chapter." Then came the breakthrough moment. He discovered he had a natural skill for organizing, planning, and systems, something he had done for decades at his old job. A career coach told him, "Michael, this isn't a resume problem. It's a direction problem. You need a new field, not an old job." That changed everything. Michael decided to try something completely new. He became a home organization specialist. It started with helping a neighbor declutter a garage. She paid him $50 and said, "Michael, you're really good at this." Then another neighbor called, then a friend, then a stranger. Within a few months, he had a small business. Nothing huge, but his work that mattered, work that helped people, work that made him feel alive again. His routine changed, his mood changed, his confidence came back. He started cooking healthy meals. He went to the gym. He renewed his relationship with his wife, deeper than before. He traveled for the first time in years. A trip to Arizona he always dreamed about. He was no longer surviving. He was transforming. By 52, Michael wasn't starting over. He was thriving. He had more energy than he did at 30. His new business brought in more income than his old job. He worked fewer hours and felt more alive. He rebuilt his identity, not around a job title, but around a purpose. When asked how he did it, he said, "It wasn't one big thing. It was 1,000 small choices and one decision. I'm not done yet." Michael became the man his younger self would be proud of. Michael's story teaches one thing: you are not too old. You are early. Early for your next chapter. Early for your best chapter. Early for the life you were supposed to live, not the life you settled for. You don't need permission to begin again. You don't need approval. You don't need youth. You need only one thing: the courage to say, "My story isn't over." Your second act starts the moment you decide it starts. Michael now wakes up each morning with a sense of excitement he never thought possible after 50. He journals. He plans. He dreams bigger than he did in his 30s. His kids see a man transformed, not just in what he does, but in who he is. His daughter Valerie often says, "Dad, you're proof that life doesn't stop at 50, it accelerates if you let it." Michael also mentors others going through career or life transitions. He speaks at local community centers, encouraging people to embrace change, take risks, and rediscover themselves. He's discovered a simple truth: life's chapters aren't defined by age, they're defined by courage. And now, he asks the same question he once asked himself: if not now, then when? Because the second act isn't a plan, it's a mindset, a choice, a story that's still being written. Michael's story is proof that it's never too late to become who you were always meant to be.